Wood goes, hey, you're getting your ass kicked. I'm like, yeah, I know. He goes, you're gonna have to knock him out. I was like, knock him out? He goes, knock him out. I was like, all right, cool. Went out there and knocked him out. So I guess that was the best advice.
Just Fight Baby podcast episode 2. Mr. John Wood and myself. How's it going, John?
It's going good. Real good.
Going busy week, huh?
It has been a busy week. It's been a very busy week.
John hasn't slept in 3 days and 5 hours and 32 minutes, but then here he is on the podcast, and we have a very, very special guest today, a man that is called Mr. Vince Vandetta Morales.
Yes,
Round of applause. We're going to edit the applause in. Here we go. How's it going, Vince?
It's great. It's going good. Real good. It's an honor to be here with the Fighting Babies themselves. So thank you, guys.
I think we just had a change in the name now. It's the Fighting Babies.
The Just Fighting Babies.
The Just Fighting Babies. Well, if you don't know Mr. Vince Vandetta, you're already wrong. This man has been in the fight business and in the fight game a long, long time. But you weren't born in Vegas, right, Vince?
No, I moved to Vegas. I think it's been 5 years. I think I'm going on 6, something like that. Originally from like Boise, Idaho area, right around like an hour away, Ontario, Oregon. Real small town, like 10,000 people. That's home, but I feel like the longer I'm here, the more Vegas is home. So
I heard you guys talking earlier, like, when did you start working together? It's been that long, huh?
Yeah, I think we're getting close to 10 years. Something like that.
Yeah. John cornered me.
After his first fight with me, he left me, and then I kind of lost track of him for a while. But
I think we should put like a very sad song right now and put John's face who said he left me.
after his first fight that he won in spectacular fashion, he just ghosted me after that. But he came back.
Yeah, that was my first fight in Bellator. It was do you remember what you said in between the second and third round?
Oh no.
It was a rough fight.
I'm scared.
I was fighting up at 45 at the time, and the dude kneed me one time, cut me in like 3 places. And the third round was starting, and he goes, Wood goes, hey, you're getting your ass kicked. I'm like, yeah, I know. He goes, you're gonna have to knock him out. I was like, knock him out? He goes, knock him out. I was like, all right, cool. Went out there and knocked him out. So I guess that was the best advice
It
I
was a
needed.
very inspirational speech.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah, it was really cool. It was probably the best performance of his life. And then, he just left me on red after that.
I feel that there's something we need to talk about. But let's just use this moment. But something that every time people talk about, not people in general, but every time John talks about cornering somebody or the video game style of the corner saying something and the fighter doing it, your name always comes up, right? Like, and it's literally a conversation that you guys have in the corner. Like, hey, how you feel? I'm feeling good. What about we do this? All right, cool, let's do this. And your last fight is a clear example of that.
Yeah, I think so. Just I don't know. He just says the right things in the right way that gets through, and even during the rounds, it kind of cuts through, and I just try to make those adjustments as needed, because I feel like outside perspective, I think we see a lot of the same things. It's a lot harder when you're face to face with somebody to really execute. So to have somebody to have that same vision on the outside perspective just helps translate it for me in there.
And it's hard, right? The corner life is a hard life to have.
I don't know. I love it. It's something that I've always been natural at. Like, I don't get nervous. I don't get, pretty even kill across, from fight to fight. Vince, you're just touching on, is one of those guys that's it's very, as a coach, that's how you want to have a guy in the corner is somebody who listens. You can tell him, like, we've been working together long enough now. Anything I say, he trusts. Anything he says, I can trust. There was moments in this last fight when he came back, and first round was a little bit different, difficult in finding some range and things like that. But he came back to the corner and gave him a second. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I get it. He's a little bit weird. He's like, but I'm gonna get him. I'm getting finding the range. Made a couple adjustments. Went out there, got a little bit closer. But by the second round, we knew we had the guy. And it's one of those things where if Vince says he's good in a fight, then I know he's good. And he listens really, really well. That's all you can really ask for as a coach in the corner is being able to say something and have the fighter respond. And then if you don't, I trust Vince so much that if he doesn't respond, then he doesn't feel it or doesn't see it, and I move on to the next thing. So I love cornering, and I especially love cornering guys that listen. It's a lot more fun than when you're just being there a cheerleader saying, yeah, it's.
I agree with that. I mean, it's a lot harder, right, to pass things on. And but we're talking about Mr. Vince, right? Morales, Vandetta. Where did Vandetta come from? There's a typical face that you make when we say Vandetta. It's almost like you change into a character, your eyebrows split. I would just look at that camera. Oh my God. Why Vandetta?
I can't do. I can only do the one. I don't have that muscle developed on that side.
So he's a southpaw Vendetta.
Yeah.
He's a southpaw Vendetta.
No.
Why Vendetta?
Dude, Vandetta's not even a nickname. That's my middle name, like legitimately.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a family name. It's my grandpa's last name. My mom thought it was a good idea to throw that for me and my brother. So yeah, it's in the mix, and I just haven't announced it full just because I think I don't know, it's got a good ring to it.
You have like the whole hairstyle thing, right? Is that like a rite of passage? I wouldn't say style. John's like style.
Yeah, please.
But is that like a rite of passage? Because it's always like, when you're coming closer to that fight, you go to the I'm gonna say barber, but I'm not gonna say barber because the barber wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
The hairdresser.
No, go to a hairdresser.
The hairdresser. I think it's a hairdresser.
It was a barber. Shout out Elliot and Co. He's the man.
Gets a facial, gets his nails done.
Stop it, dude. I would never.
He's a moisturizing guy. He moisturizes.
Yeah, before we started,
Started
he
getting cut too
was
much.
talking about what color lipstick he should use. He even called Chino.
I saw
to
that
be-
thing
to
of
be
lipstick that
honest,
you were
like,
rocking, dude.
This dude used to get cut like every 10 minutes in practice. And so I finally
a
was
lot.
busting his balls. I was like, dude, you stop moisturizing. He's like, you think that's it? I was like, you really moisturizze? He's like, yeah.
How'd you
yeah,
know?
Shino makes me. Shino is his soon-to-be wife. Makes him moisturize, but I don't think so. I think he's just.
Yeah, I haven't
that kind
moisturized
of
in
guy.
years.
Dude, you got 5 cuts on your face that say different. It's okay to moisturize.
Don't. Yeah.
bro.
Well, not if you
Like,
train.
I'm not, as a
I think
man,
I think it weakens the skin. It gets you
wouldn't
cut
do
up a
it.
little bit.
Yeah, no kidding. I was kidding when I said that because I didn't think you. I thought you were a little more manly than
brought
that,
out the
but I
truth.
was-
Forgive me for having a little bit of self care, dude.
It's okay. It's okay.
So why the hair?
So that's actually just something for fights. I started doing it recently, but it takes me back to like when I won state in high school as a senior.
Against one
we
guy.
all no.
He was the only guy on the
I had a
mat.
I had a pigtail in that bracket. I had to
Nobody
wrestle an
else in
extra
the
one just to get
bracket.
in.
Okay. None of them
anyways,
so good.
anyways, we all just did stupid stuff to our hair, and then when I fought over in Rising in Japan just recently, they all do crazy things for the show over there, so kind of jumped on and went with like the old high school colors and felt good, and it kind of reminded me that like if we're not having fun doing fighting, then it's a rough go. So it reminds me to get out there and have fun and kind of enjoy it. Sometimes it looks cool, sometimes I get a little hate from Coach Wood.
I don't hate it all.
He just doesn't like that you moisturize.
Dude, his nickname is Big Hate. You know this, right? Big Hate MMA. It's in the flesh, dude.
That's been back on the couch.
He's just like cut. And on that note, Vince, you had the opportunity to fight at Rising inside the Saitama Arena, which is legendary. I mean, for anybody that loves martial arts, being able to be in the Saitama Arena is just crazy. And you were not only able to be there, wear those typical army green gloves that you can barely stretch your fingers on, but you were able to win, right? What's the craziest thing about Japan? I mean, that you were there for a while before the fight, right?
Yeah, I was there around a month. Dude, everything's so crazy. You know what struck me real odd was how it's all organized chaos. Like there's so many people. It's like one of the most densely populated cities in the world. But everybody, if they're getting on an escalator, everybody stands to the left to make sure people are clear on the right. And like, if you everybody's got to cram into like the subways or the trains over there, and they'll cram in and then be real quiet and respectful. Yeah. And then as they're getting off, people are letting people off. They're not trying to jam and cross up. It's crazy. And that goes to like show just the kind of people that Japanese are.
The
really.
only time it gets really nuts there is when Godzilla comes, and then it's
yeah. But then you can also call King Kong.
Yeah. No,
there's a movie that they become like
King
friends
Kong
in.
Dude, don't be.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
he's American.
There's Godzilla versus.
That's I don't want to say racist is the word. It's incorrect.
It's incorrect.
It's incorrect. Your facts are incorrect. It's strictly Godzilla in Japan.
But like the food, dude. I mean, everybody says, sushi and all that you get there's probably different, huh?
Sushi was great everywhere, dude. I would run across the street to the gas station to go get sushi from the gas station. It was amazing.
We can't do that here.
No, hell, no. I definitely don't
Nope.
recommend that here in the States. Dude, all the food over there was great. I'm big on like, I love food, different cultures and everything, so I like to experience all that. And man, I was eating something new like every day over there, and every meal I had was like the best meal I ever had. I love Japan. That was one of my favorite MMA trips of all time. Really.
And then Sheena was all upset because you didn't want to come back.
Pretty much. Yeah. She was born there, dude. So when she got there for the last like 10 days of camp, she got to like show me around where she grew up and like just got to get a little more familiar with the city, like one-on-one with her. And she was my translator then, which helped a lot. Yeah, man, it was a dope experience.
And that's a cool thing, right? If you guys don't know, Vince, soon to be married to Miss Shino Van Hoos. And
Are you taking her last name?
No, dude.
come on, Vince Van Hoos?
It's okay.
That's fine.
You can hype
I'm
it
not
if
doing
you
it.
want. It's a cool thing to do these days.
No,
I
she's
think-
super hyped to be a Morales.
I feel like
officially,
Shino's gonna make you take her last
so.
name.
She's pretty adamant that she's
Vince-
taking Morales.
I mean, tell me this: Vince Vandetta Van Hoos rolls.
That
off
is
the tongue
perfect, bro.
A lot better than
yeah.
Morales.
VVVM.
Yeah.
VVVM.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Shino, you have our vote, okay?
No, for
Van,
sure.
Van Hoos.
Yeah, listening to the Fighting Babies is on her top of the to-do list. So
But it's cool, right? And like, how is that relationship? Both of you fight. She has 12 fight pro experience, has been to really big shows. How is that support? I mean, is it back and forth? I know for women it's different sometimes, right? They go through those phases, and it's hard to lose weight. There's the insecurities, but how do you deal with that as being her partner and being within this journey with her?
she's pretty level-headed for the most part. So when she's going through her stuff for like fight week, like we both kind of feel the same stuff, so we know how to communicate to each other and kind of just be there and really what we need. So she's looking to get another fight soon, so we'll see, because it's been a little bit since she's competed, but we'll see how the process has changed since then. But dude, we're a power couple, I think. Like we get the right shit done.
I mean, she does have an awesome coach. I think she'll be okay.
Yeah. I think she needs a new coach.
For both. So you've been in this game a long time, like we've talked about it earlier. But there was one date that caught my attention when I was kind of just looking, who Vince is. May 4th, 2019. Do you know what happened on that date?
That was my first win in the UFC. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like you had been all over, right? You had your shot at the Contender Series. You had your debut in the UFC, didn't go your way. But in Vince fashion, you come back and then you prove everybody wrong and you get that first UFC win. What is that feeling like?
That's pretty epic, man. I still feel like to this day, like I can only see it like retrospectively now because we're so far past that moment. But even like it felt awesome to get a win, especially on that stage against a quality opponent. That was Ayman Zahabi. Man, I was kind of nervous for that one. I'm like, okay. I know I lost the first fight, but this one, like I'm not a real UFC fighter until I get a win in the UFC. So like that was kind of my mindset going in. And I still feel like I was out there trying to win the fight instead of get out there to fight. And like I said, I realize that now. And I think I spent the majority of my UFC career out there trying to win instead of getting out there to fight. And ever since, I've been looking to kind of rectify that and just get back to just making sure that I'm fighting, because I think that's where the win's a byproduct. That takes care of itself. You got to get out there and fight first.
That's something interesting. That's something that we know exists, but we don't really put it into play, is fighting with a purpose and not fighting to win, right? If you perform and if you do what you're supposed to do, the win is eventually going to come.
Yeah, I think that's something that like I've changed over the years, coaching, and even with Vinny for sure. We kind of, as a coach, I'm not to say did a disservice, but towards the end, I think we were, his last fight in the UFC, last couple fights, we had some good success. The best success was when he was just out there kind of flowing and going. And I think the last one we maybe put a little too much pressure on to do certain things. And Vinny's become such a good, well-rounded mixed martial artist that letting him go out there and kind of do his thing, and it's just worked out a lot better. I think taking the pressure off. Obviously, since his UFC exit, it's I think we've really hit our stride in 5-0, 4 finishes against all top level winning competition, and just kind of changed how we did things to look for just kind of, like you said, going out there and fighting his fight, and not worrying about what the other guy was doing so much, not worrying about how we need to stylistically do it. Because when you get to the level, like I said, where Vince is at, as such a well-rounded, we can win the fight standing, we can win the fight on the ground, just go out there and fight. And that's kind of been what's happening. I think it's really paid off, and hopefully we'll get back and get that second chance, in the UFC.
And that's a very important point. That's something we definitely wanted to talk about with Vince, is when you got cut from the UFC, a lot of people go into that deep hole, right? That's hard to climb out of. But Then again, you once again proved everybody wrong, and you go on a 5-fight win streak. Of course, peaking right now, winning a title against a former UFC fighter with a submission that has never been done inside an MMA cage, right? And before we even talk about that, I mean, I remember I was, talking to my girlfriend, and I said, "Hey, Vinny has some impressive numbers," and it really got me like inspired because I'm like, man, this guy's on the mat every day, as humble as they come, helps everybody out. Vince is basically an injury, like it's a walking injury, right? But he's here every day. And the first thing you see when you log on to his Tapology is you are now number 1 in the West, number 1 in America. That's out of 843 active bantamweight fighters. Like, that's crazy when you think of that we have a room with so many killers, and we literally have the number 1 bantamweight in the country out of 843 active MMA fighters. Do you think that you've made the statement? Because before you fought for this fight, you were on the radar, right? Possible new signs or possible names that the UFC can sign after a win. Obviously, you were very convincing, right? Was that going through your head? Like, hey, this is a shot for me to prove that I'm worthy to get back?
A little bit, man, but like that's all byproduct stuff again. Like I'm out there just kind of trying to be me and enjoy the whole process, enjoy the fight. I mean, I still think I think I'm right there to get back in where I need to be. I really believe that, and I think I can give a lot of those guys like top 15 like a good run for their money, if not put it on them. So I believe that. If I still got to get out there and prove that, whatever, I'll just keep being me, and I think it's bound to happen.
I think I can see it happening. We don't see that comeback story a lot, right? But in MMA, it almost seems like this is something that is pretty sure will happen.
A lot of guys, take the safe route when they, if they get cut, and they take the safe route, take easy fights, try to build whatever. Vince hasn't had a single easy fight since he left the UFC. I think we've had 3 or 4 UFC vets, 3 UFC vets or something now, and a Ryzen, and just like fought everybody, and all of them winning records. You know, you haven't fought a single person with a losing record. In my opinion, obviously, I don't think we're waiting for the short notice fight to happen. Like someone falls out, I think we're next in line. But honest to God, I really think that, like you said, he's the number 1 ranked guy outside of the UFC right now. I think he's earned the shot just to get signed back in. But unfortunately, with Contenders and the Ultimate Fighter and all these things going on, the only way you do get in is either through one of those platforms or
a last-minute call or something.
Call. So this guy's ready, and he didn't have to take that last fight. We've been sitting on a 4-fight win streak here for a minute. It's some good competition, but it came up, and it was for a title. Good money, at the end of the day, as a prize fighter, you fight for money. That's how you support yourself and your family. So, we talked about it, and I know Vinny's not one of those guys that likes to sit on the shelf. So we said it's definitely a fight that I knew he would win, and we took it. And obviously the opportunity came out. I got a good viral submission out of it that I named on the mat. And he did try on me one day, and not even close to get it. I kind of laughed it off. But after that, I saw him hit it a couple times on some people, so I gave it a name for him.
Tears of laughter is what those were. My bad. Okay,
so
my
tears
that
of
fight,
laughter.
Though, the Vinchuvian was born that fight. It's his move. I'll give him that. He'll never get it on me, but that's okay. It's not what we're here to talk about. My dominance in the grappling,
the alpha that I am.
We get it, dude. You're the man.
No, but Vince, like I said, I think he should be signed outright. Sean Shelby. I've talked to him a couple times in the last few days, just seen him at the events, and keep talking about Vince. I'm gonna talk to him every time I see him. This dude deserves to be on that level. He deserves to be back in there, not only talent-wise, but just it is hard to go on a 5-fight win streak against top talent, against guys that are not easy guys to beat, easy guys to finish. You're finishing guys. So, I think we really hit our stride. I think Vince has hit his stride, and I can't wait to see him get back in there and do the damn thing.
I think part of that is also how active you are. 2023, 3 fights. 2024, we're in September, already 3 fights. So being able to stay healthy and on the mat, and
he ain't healthy.
Well, I'm trying to play it safe.
Within reason, healthy enough.
Being wrapped around and bubble wrap basically to train, but 3 fights already this year, you know, and like you said, John, they're not easy fights. You know, they're tough fights against guys with winning records. You're proving yourself. And then we get to the best topic on this episode, which is what you just talked about, right? The Vinchuvian necktie, which, okay, there are other names, right, Vince? There's an Armenian necktie.
Yeah, I've been sent a few. There was like caveman necktie that looks similar. Texas necktie looked a little similar. They do it a little bit different, but I don't want to split hairs.
But the important fact of this is, and we're going to play this video for you guys, is it's the first time that somebody actually does it in an MMA match. So we know that the thing with Vince is I don't even shake his hand. I fist bump because if I shake his hand, he will darce me while I'm shaking his hand.
Or he gets cut.
Or he gets cut.
Yeah, that's
So
that.
I fist bump him, scared of getting darced, right? Obviously, you were going for the darce, but then that was a trap. So walk us a little bit through what your mindset was when that was happening, that you kind of trapped him into one and went into something else.
So that whole like last kind of grappling exchange in there, I think I rolled Anaconda. That was pretty tight. I heard him gurgling. I think I just got a little impatient. I was like, screw it, I'm jumping up. So I jumped Peruvian for that first one. Still heard him gurgling. And in my mind, like those tight submission attempts, they're like, it's like body work. Like you're putting in money in the bank. Like you're wearing on him. Like even if you get out of that, like you got to catch your breath, but have fun catching your breath because I'm still going to be on you is kind of my approach. So stayed on him, stayed solid. I was trying to jump Darce from there, but he kind of bellied out. And when people go belly out, I've been working this one instead, and I keep that Darce dump, that lock on that far side, and just slap my shin across, and then
You got
a matter
so
of time
deep
there.
on the first Darce. Like
Yeah.
I thought that one was after you went for that one, God, I was like, oh man, he's gonna get this,
Yeah.
no problem. So it's a matter of
I felt like
time.
that too in there. I was like, okay, cool, it's a matter of time now. I'm gonna get him.
I
I'm
actually
gonna get him.
started laughing once you hit the Peruvian. I knew what was coming
Yeah,
next.
yeah.
It's like, here it comes.
Yeah, I've jumped Peruvian 3 times in my last 3 fights. 0% with those, but 100% success rate for that Vinchuvian.
Because I remember I wasn't there and I was watching it, and in my head, I was like, what the is Vince doing? When I saw the shin go across, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then he hit it, and then I'm like, how do you even explain something like that?
Oh yeah, it's a good little submission, man. Like when he tried it on me, and I kind of just like brushed it off. There was a second where I was like, "What is that? It feels weird." And then I just defended it, and I'm pretty sure turned around and submitted him. But
I don't think none of that
no,
happened.
I've seen him hit it. I've seen him hit it in the room. And it is pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
It is a good modification. I don't care. There's some nerd somewhere in some basement doing it. It's probably done it, but until you hit it in a fight or hit it on a live platform like that, it's yours now.
Yeah.
So I don't care.
Yeah, I got
what
dibs on it.
Caveman, Bavarian, whatever. Whatever you said. It's the Vinchuvian for sure.
Appreciate that, Coach. Thank you.
So, we're going to baptize it, and the Vinchuvian has officially come to the MMA world.
I got one this morning too.
I saw that. I just kind of laughed and turned around. I was like, oh my God, he's doing it on the mat now. Like nobody's safe in this
I don't
gym
understand how
anymore.
guys don't just stop. Don't let you grab their head. It's just like
Yeah,
He
when
finds
they're my
it.
size, it's different. Okay, like it's hard enough just getting around your head.
fair enough.
One take that I wanted from you, Vince, is obviously, Syndicate is riding this awesome wave, right? 2 title fights, and then you started off strap season, at
Gold
UFL,
Rush.
the
Syndicate
Gold
Gold
Rush,
Rush.
the
Hell yeah.
Syndicate Gold Rush, and you started that strap season off. What's the feeling? I mean, you've been here a long time, and you've seen all these up and comers, and we have guys like Marab and Khalil on the mat, and other great names that a lot of promotions and people that are going to learn to pay attention to after the next upcoming months of fights that we have. But
Right.
what's your take on the way the team is now, as far as like talent and potential?
Dude, the room, it's stressful coming here sparring days because you're looking around. It's like, there's no easy rounds. And I think it's like that across the board for everybody. So it's been amazing, really. And everybody's got that camaraderie still. They're real together like a team. And I think that's something that's real unique that's been built here at Syndicate. Feels right. Know what I mean? Like, I think everybody's happy to get here. Everybody knows we're going to work hard. Everybody knows it's probably going to suck. But on the other side of all that hard work and the suck is like, that's greatness. And that's where growth is. And that's where strap season is. Know what I mean? And that's the reason Marab's going to go out there and break this dude. And Khalil's going to go out there and shock the world. So.
I agree with that. I think we have a lot of potential in this room. And and again, it's not because you're in front of me, you know, you can give me the $10 later. I really think that, you know, you're an inspiration to be around. You know, we even talk about with the amateurs to bring a guy like Vince in to show them what hard work is, you know.
Yeah.
You're in the room. You're in the room every day. You're in the worm room every day, and you're working your butt off, you know, and a lot of it is not being selfish, you know, is being here to also help out your training partners. Came back from a title win within a couple days, you're already back on the mat. And you truly live this, right?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's like the one thing, I say this all the time, it's the one thing other than Shino that I really love. You know what I mean? Like yeah, I know, I got to look out
Let's
for her.
get some hearts on him. Shino.
Yeah, she's the best. But
Mr. Van Hoos.
But no, but sometimes I feel like MMA, like it puts you in some weird things. It's like almost like a toxic relationship sometimes where it really makes you.
It's the most toxic.
Yeah, it's like okay. Oh, just when you think like okay, cool, you love it this much. Here's this.
It's gonna love me back,
dude. Yeah, no. So like, you got to learn to love it for that.
Yeah.
And then again, everything else that comes with it, all the good stuff, like that's all byproduct stuff. Like
it's
just
the roller
you
coaster,
get out,
man.
yeah,
It's
you get out there and
the
enjoy
roller
it.
coaster. There's nothing. There's no more ups and downs that you will experience in anything like MMA. You know, it just is. Especially the fact, like sports, of course. There's lots of team sports that you know have great seasons, terrible seasons, but when it's just you and everybody's focused on that one person in the cage, there's no better or worse feeling than MMA, you know, across
100%.
the board. There's no better. Like, I mean, I go home every night just coaching and I'm like, oh my God, you know, it's terrible. I feel like that scene in Star Wars where Attack of the Clones or whatever it is, where Yoda comes out and he's got his little cane and then he goes to scrap and he takes off his thing, goes flipping
he can
around
move.
and gets this gnarly fight and then puts it back on and hobbles out. That's me every day. Most of us
Yeah,
every day,
seriously.
we're just like, oh my God. You know, but it's the love of the game that keeps you going. And if you don't really love this sport, it'll chew you up and spit you out. You know, you have to be. You got to take the good and the bad, like, because there's a lot of both. It really is. And this sport's not just based on, you know, talent or hard work. I hate to say it, but there is a lot of luck that has to go with this for everything to happen right. The timing,
Right.
you know, not getting injured, you know, answering the call when it comes and being ready and on weight, and having the right person fall out at the right time. You know, unfortunate for them, but fortunate for us. There's a lot of things that go into this sport that are out of our control to make it to the top, to make it to a title fight. It's crazy.
And a lot of people don't understand what it takes, right? And then again, you love the sport, and you're here. You were with Cody last night. Until today, cutting, and then all of a sudden you get, you're here, and then there's Marab this week, and then you have Khalil, then you're out with Khalil, then you had just gone to Vince, and like just juggling all that together is I don't know. I honestly don't know how you do it.
Yeah, well, that's why I got you guys, you know, coming in here to help out. It's like Vince said, the culture of the gym and everything is going in such a great direction. You know, we're on such a good roll. I want to keep it going, and it's something I obviously can't do myself. So having a great group of assistant coaches, and then, you know, guys like Vince, just leaders in the team and the floor, and examples for people to look at and go, hey man, you know, I want to get there someday. Maybe not, you know, as ugly and cut up and injured, but, you know, and hair and all whatever.
I still look good. I know
everything
it.
else, the career-wise, you know, probably there's a lot of guys that, you know, want to get to that position that you've been in and are gonna be in. Yeah, we're just it's like I said, it's the love of the game and traveling, cornering, doing all that stuff. It's never like I don't feel like I've had a day at work in 20 years. You know, it's something you just show up to do, and it's not always the funnest on the body, and everything hurts most of the time, but there's nothing better. There's nothing better than what we do.
Yeah.
Is the best.
And that leads me to you know, when I can personally see you as a good coach.
Oh, well, thank
Is
you.
that something that you think of doing maybe in the future? Like, you know, when your MMA career is done, maybe pass on that knowledge?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, like in my free time, I train people in like self-defense and just kind of get people acquainted with the sport, martial arts and boxing and wrestling and all that stuff. But I try not to think too heavy about it, because when that time comes, it'll come, and I don't want to plan for that and then have it be sooner
Right.
rather than later. So yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't turn it away when I'm old and gray, and then.
It's funny how he pointed at him.
blonde.
It's funny how he said, I want to be old and gray, and he pointed at John. It was almost, he almost regretted it.
It's crazy. I keep getting blonder. I don't know what's going on.
It's funny how he does that with his gold watch, right? He
Oh,
just
for
wants to
sure.
make sure
Yeah,
everybody sees the
real
gold
nice.
watch.
It's subtle.
He's like, I'm getting, but
Time's not even set right on that.
so of course, Vince, you know the first lady, right? And you know how Scottish she is to the T. So we had, JoJo put an audio together, an audio clip, and see if you can figure out what the F she's saying.
Can't even do it when she's speaking English.
So it's funny because I showed John. He's like, yeah, I know that one. She says it a lot to me. It's like, shut your trap. All right. So Scottish banter with Miss JoJo Wood officially on the mic. I'm gonna play it for you, and I want to see what you think she said.
Okay. Let me see.
You're off your heat. You're off your heat.
You're after your heat.
Vince, you're bloody off your heat.
Oh, I didn't get personal.
She got it. You got it
You're
personalized.
off your heat. You're off. You're off your head. You're crazy. Got it.
Not bad.
Oh my God.
That's got to be what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I
That's
know how
exactly
she
what-
talks to me in English. So like what would it
So
be?
you're off your heat. You're off your heat. I sound like Miss Doubtfire trying to make a JoJo. Translates into you are off your head. Ding, ding, ding. Can be used in many situations. You can use it to describe someone acting stupid.
She says that one to you a lot.
So he knows. He knows what it is. He knows what it
This is
is.
the first sentence we wake up. It's not good morning. You're off your heat.
You're off your heat. So all these things have happened. It's been a roller coaster for you, right? Does the expectation of possibly getting that shot at the UFC, does that make you lose nights of sleep, or is it something that at this point you're just such a veteran that you're like, if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna keep pushing towards it?
I think it's a little bit of both. I just realized that it may be some of the reason I sleep like crap at night. But yeah, it's a little bit of both. I mean, like, I think it keeps me motivated and fired up, and like, I think I operate well there. But I mean, if it doesn't, like, the other byproducts are going to be just as great. I know something's gonna work out in my favor eventually. Whether I'm a millionaire because of PFL next year or something, or who knows? But whatever it is, I'm down for it. I think the roller coaster still reaching the top of it.
You agree, John?
Oh yeah, no one. This dude's working his ass off to do whatever it is that come next, and I know it's going to be something good because he's earned it, deserves it, in the best possible position that you could put yourself outside of the UFC, and we're just waiting for that call. And I think that Sean Shelby, UFC needs to make that call sooner or later. And because Vince said it earlier, I think he can still compete at the highest level with the guys. I think we get back in there, I think he's gonna have a number next to his name. So
I agree.
we're kind of playing the waiting game, and hopefully UFC takes advantage and sees what they got here. If not, we'll go to the next biggest thing, and I know Vince will be successful wherever he goes.
Whatever it is, I'm ready for it.
I got the chills. Probably gonna darce me at some moment.
I might.
Oh God. Well, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you follow our man, Mr. Vince Vandetta Morales. Vince, let him know what your IG is.
IG, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, the works. It's all at Vandetta135.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans we don't talk about. You'll find it.
And if you don't follow Mr. John Wood and myself on Instagram, you're also wrong. Max Suarez MMA and
Big Wood MMA 702.
Big hate.
702 Vegas, baby.
Big hate.
Second episode, we're closing out. Make sure you guys share, subscribe, like, let everybody know what we're doing here at Syndicate MMA. A lot of big names still coming up on the podcast. Marab, it's fight week. We're going to have a new champ, Mr. Vince Morales here. We're going to have Khalil. We have other huge names. Cody Steele, Otari fighting for the Contender Series. Just a lot going on. A reason for all the blonde hair on Mr. Wood's beard. So make sure you share, make sure you follow, give us a like. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll catch you guys soon.
Cheers.